chase the bag, gotta chase the bag. Ain't no need to lag.
What's up? What's up, and welcome to Lunchtime in the Lab. Had a nice day off yesterday. Yesterday was actually kind of frustrating. Complain for a second as people are given their chance to get in here. But I planned on taking a day off yesterday. I took a day off from the podcast. Was gonna take a day off from the Discord, and Luis Medina was pitching for the A's, who has been struggling. Do look terrible in AAA, so I went Braves team total that they scored 1 run, right, in the first 5. I did the first 5 team total. But I mean, I went down the line of just like, I liked all these teams for early up. I like these teams for first 5 team totals. I like these teams to win. And it's like, man, I could have picked out 6 winners, 7 winners. I mean, there's 3 winners in the Yankees game. Yankees team total, Yankees first or Giants first 5 team total, Yankees early up. I mean, just literally everything hit. And then outside of the one play that I gave out. So pretty frustrating. Thank you, Chuck. What's up, yo, to you, Smoke? Been a frustrating stretch, man. You know, in the Discord of 16-0. Between Monday and Thursday, I went 16-1. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, could hardly buy a bet. So look, it's just crazy how, I talked about, MLB is certainly a sport like that. I mean, you go on a streak, you win 10, you hope you lose 5 in a row, and then you hope to win a couple more, then you lose less, and then back and forth. Like, you never really go on too crazy of a streak, because that's just the way, MLB is, unfortunately. MLB betting is just so like up and down, and you can have everything going on your side, and then it all falls apart, all at once, too there. What's up, Harvey? I wanted to pull it up though. Speaking of MLB, oops, wrong thing here. I'm up 23 units so far, and in MLB. It started late. I mean, we're on our way to our 3rd month. I mean, that's not fantastic, but I mean, like, it's also not terrible. I think I was up 86 throughout the entire year last year. But I mean, realistically, I also stopped betting it in September because it's football season. Like, forget baseball as soon as that comes around. I've always been football. Speaking of football, we have Canadian football starting on Thursday. Likely going to continue the podcast. I think we're talking about maybe recording we call it the Boys of Spring podcast, the one we've been doing for the UFL. I don't know if maybe we do something, different in that way. Call it the Boys of Summer, because, Canadian Football League is during the summer. But record it like Wednesday night, drop it, of the recorded podcast on Thursday morning. There's generally 1 game Thursday, 1 game Friday, 1 game Saturday, 1 game Sunday, maybe. Chuck, speaking of school, I had to make sure I had the Vikings hat on today. We locked our boy up today. Finally got Justin Jefferson, $140 million deal, which people think that's overpaying. The dude, I mean, obviously any Vikings fan certainly doesn't agree to that. A perfect compliment. Jordan Addison compliments him so well. And we don't have to pay a quarterback right now. We're not paying a quarterback big money. So by time that 3-year contract's over, I mean, we'll have a hard decision with JJ McCarthy, potentially, and then, how Jefferson's been doing, but I don't think it's an overpayment at all, because we're not having to pay big money for a quarterback, as we have a rookie quarterback going to be on a deal for, what is that, normally 3 years, 2 or 3 years or something like that. So that's not a bad. It's not bad to me at all. Nice too. I mean, I got a Justin Jefferson jersey. My wife does. My son does. Got to get the other boy, a jersey. So it's kind of cool to, be able to have him locked up. I don't have to go jersey hunting anymore. Although I might have to buy a JJ jersey just out of the culture. Yeah, TJ, you missed it. Honestly, about an hour or so ago, it was tweeted, and it's kind of everywhere right now. But yeah. Yeah. Are you a Vikings fan, TJ? Did I not realize that? But yeah, they definitely did sign him. So pretty nice. But all right. Let's see here. I guess I'll say at the top here. So Uh, summertime's obviously very, very busy. I mean, I don't have a ton of people actually watching right now. Some people on Twitter, some people on YouTube or whatever. But what, bud? Huh? It's just working. Go ahead, go hang out. Close the door. My son. Oh man, so yeah, I've been streaming on YouTube, and like he had the headset on, was playing the other day at the end. It was pretty funny. I made like a TikTok because he was like he died, and he's like, "Oh damn it," or something like that. It's hilarious. But anyway, I've decided that moving forward during the summer, outside of like, I mean, every weekend's probably going to be a little different. Going to go Monday through Friday for the podcast. More than likely be off on Saturdays and Sundays. Number one, not that many people watch on the weekends anyway. I know some of you guys are there, but I mean, it's the views are much lower as people are busy and everything. Number two, during the summer, there's just a lot going on. Like it's those are Saturdays and Sundays. My wife stays off. Trying to work, orchestrate things around like, well, we can go after a podcast, or I got to try to pre-record it early, blah blah blah. Family wise, I mean, it's just a little difficult or whatever. So Monday through Friday is going to be the game plan. Saturdays and Sundays, if it's a Saturday that I know I'm not doing anything, it's raining, we're sitting around, sure, I'll post that we'll do a podcast or whatever. But the plan will be Monday through Friday on just the for just during the week, and then I'm imagine once football season starts back up, I'll be getting into that or doing some kind of a version of a show. I'd imagine it's I'm big into college football and stuff too. But here we go. Let's Culpepper I got on Madden the other day, and they have Culpepper. You can be like Culpepper can be your quarterback in Ultimate Team. I feel like that's got to be one of the first times he's actually in there. But yeah, that's when Randall Cunningham, Culpepper, Moss. So yeah, that's about the same time that I got into it. Today's Monday, 6/3, June 3rd. That's crazy. Let's see. I got some graphics here. We'll pull them up. We'll get going here. I don't feel like I have anything else to talk about. All right. First up, I got pull this up to see what kind of line movement we got going around here. Chuck, one day I'll see them possibly in a Super Bowl. And myself, seeing the White Sox win a World Series, we'll see if I can ever see a Vikings championship. But I like the Mets money line here. I would recommend the early up promo. I'm going to play Mets early up promo on DraftKings as the play here. Depending on if you guys are limited, if you don't have the promo or whatever, I feel good about taking the Mets money line in general. They've been hitting the ball really well. At one point, I mean, they were like one of the worst teams at hitting lefties. And, I had Jordan Montgomery outs the other day. Can't remember if I had that in the podcast or not. Definitely on the Discord. Some of you might remember it if you're in there. But they just killed them. They smashed them, man. They were hitting the hell out of the ball. The Mets have been hitting the ball just really, really well here recently. And for whatever reason, they're hitting the ball really well away. And on top of them they have a really good batting average away. So for whatever reason, they don't perform overly well at home, but they are away here. And I feel like they have the better pitcher. They have the better batting average, and they're hitting the ball well. When you have a team that's hitting the ball well, you certainly want to ride the wave kind of thing. And they're not like a fantastic, that's why we got them at plus 102 right now on DraftKings. They're not, they're not killing it. The Nationals are certainly still in rebuild mode too. Like they're certainly up and down as well. But I see like the entire world is on Mackenzie Gore hits allowed. And, that's a little scary when like, everybody is on certain type of bet. So as long as hopefully everybody hits that. And then that's going to be beneficial to our early up win here. Hopefully it's not the reverse. I need pitches like a shutout or something. Then we're obviously going to be in trouble. But, his over hits is at like over 4.5, 5.5, something like that. And like I said, like every, like all over Twitter, all over like any sort of website you can look at, everybody likes to back his outs. His hits, but that's because the Mets have been hitting really well. So I think as an alternative, I think it's wise to take this early up promo because the Mets do have McGill pitching today, who has pitched just 3 times this year, but he has a 1.69 ERA. He just shut out the Dodgers for 7 innings. He's been looking really good. Obviously, this Nationals team is nowhere near as talented as the Dodgers lineup, but the Dodgers lineup, obviously, we talk about all the time how frustrating they are. So it's still certainly something to be said, though, that he was able to shut them out for 7 innings. On the year, he's pitched, like I said, three times. He's given up just 3 runs in 3 starts here. So, I mean, he's averaging just a run a start. Much better pitcher compared to what the Nationals have to offer. Mackenzie Gore, who has a higher ERA than he does away at a 3.48 ERA. He hasn't really gotten killed by any means, but he certainly gives up a decent amount of hits, gives up runs. He's only had 1 shutout in the year. There are some games where he's given up just 1, or 2 or something like that. But if McGill can keep the Nationals off the board, I think the Mets will have plenty of time. Even, man, shoot, it'd be great to have a first inning. We get Francisco Lindor to go up, and then we have Pete Alonso hit him in, JD Martinez hit him in, home run, something like that. As the Mets have been hitting the ball really well. Alonso's been feeling himself. Francisco Lindor is finally coming around. I mean, he was super slump mode in the beginning. I think the Mets ultimately win the game, but the early up is going to be, a good look for them, especially on an away team here. I feel pretty good about it. TJ, speaking of your Blue Jays, that's not a bad look to be honest. TJ said he's on Baltimore early up against the Jays. I have a play in this game. And I'll say that there's 2 reasons why I like it. And I'll talk about the later one probably here in a second. But I like the over. I like over 7.5. One of the lower totals on the board today, well, tied for the lowest. You got over 7.5 for the Orioles and the Blue Jays. You got over 7.5 for the Tigers and the Rangers. But if you talk about or think about the Tigers and the Rangers, you got Tariq Skubal pitching and you got Eovaldi pitching. Eovaldi's going to be on a pitch count today, they say. So be careful with that if you're liking anything in regards to him. I do actually think Skubal could have, if you're taking a lotto of anything, I think Skubal has a pretty high K rate today. Ryan Weathers just had like 11 strikeouts against the Rangers. That's pretty similar stuff that they have. So just as like kind of just talking or whatever, but I think that could be a pretty good look. But I like the over 7.5 in the Orioles and Blue Jays here. But what I was going to say, actually, I got off track. Skubal and Eovaldi are much better pitchers than Grayson Rodriguez and Kevin Gausman. Right? Gausman has certainly not had it. Rodriguez is average the mid as well, but we have the same total. I think that's kind of sketchy. Like I said, Rodriguez versus Gausman, Rodriguez away, and both of these guys are in a perfect situation. Rodriguez has a worse ERA away. Gausman has a worse ERA at home. Obviously, one's away, one's at home, so we have a perfect situation. Rodriguez away has a 5.48 ERA. He's given up at least 2 runs in every away start, including a 7-run just blow up by the Angels. The Angels killed him for 7 runs. So he's given up at least 2 in every away start. You look at Gausman at home, has a 6.20 ERA. He has given up 10 combined runs in his last 2 home starts. The Orioles, as we know, can be hot or cold. I think this game is probably driven off of the bats of the Orioles. The Blue Jays, aren't scoring a lot of runs. It certainly needs to be driven. TJ's on the money line for them, which I think is a good idea, as this is more of like a 5-3 kind of game. Something along those lines. It needs to be driven by the Blue Jays, in my opinion here. And Gausman having the higher ERA at home, 6 runs given up. TJ in the chat, talking about the velocity, I can't get this notification to go away. There you go. Fastball velocity way down here as well, which is going to allow the Orioles to be able to hit all over them. The Orioles have certainly been hitting lefties better, and they've been hitting better at home. But I just think this total is entirely too low for the pitching matchup that we have here. I will say too, like the Blue Jays are over this total in 4 of their last 5 games. The Orioles are over this in 2 of their last 5. However, 2 of their games fell at 7 exactly. So they got, they got hooked essentially off of this line. That's all my stuff, right? I do look at the ballpark simulations every day. I like to look at the weather, most importantly, see if the wind's blowing out or anything, anything in that sorts. Ballpark Pal has this game projected as a 10+ run game. They make the over 7.5 at a minus 200, like minus 222 or something. They had it make that. We can get it at minus 114. I think that we have a good value based off like just their projections. They've been pretty solid with some of their total projections. I normally pay attention to like their dark green projections, which shows a lot of runs. But normally when they have the higher amount of runs, you see that you have one of the higher totals. This is one of the first times that they have a projection of 10 runs and we have a total of over 7.5. And like I said, they have their values on there. They've got, a plus 10 runs over here is going to be a plus 200, plus 300 bet, something like that. And they have it priced at even money. Alternate total runs over 10.5 is plus 255. They have it placed at even money. So whichever way you look at it, I think it's pretty good value here. For our second play to be over 7.5. This is the one that I'll probably make for my like video that I've been doing on like TikTok and Twitter. It'll probably be this over 7.5. I like this. This one's been a pretty good look here itself. And last I don't know if it was all of May. It was all of May. I was 3-0 in full game team total, so something I think I probably want to try to do a better job of getting back to. So not a bad look here for the second one. Third play. But before we do that, as always, I'm going to get in here, like my own video. Make sure you guys do the same for me, please. I had 7. It just turned into 8. It says there's 24 people watching right now. So do me a favor and like the video if you have not liked it for me. Like I've said before, I don't know how it works, but I know that more likes equates to them, recommending the videos, to other people and stuff like that. So do me a favor and hit the like button. I just wanted to pull up the weather so we had it later when we put our home run lotto together. Okay. Anyhow, getting into the third play here. Got a player prop, outs. And I won't say that I've been going back and forth, but I feel like I've been doing some extra research to make sure that I like this play. There's about 4 plays that I'm looking at right now. And honestly, 3 of them are in here that have the potential to be, go in the Discord or whatever. Here from Twitter. Appreciate it. But anyway, I mean, Kyle Gibson has just been an outs machine. These out props have certainly been something that, man, I know I've talked about it before. In the beginning, I think I started like 6-1, 6-2, like killing it. But then it's like I couldn't hit one for a while. Then it leveled back out, just like baseball does. Always levels out. I went like 6-2. Then I turned around and went like 2-6. Leveled out to an 8-8. During my 16-0 run from the middle of the week last week, Monday to Thursday, I hadn't hit 6-0 on the out prop. So those have certainly been, something that's working for me. Out props have been, pretty killing it. But some of them have been a little bit of like, cheating kind of, where you have somebody to go over 17.5 and it's like minus 200, but it's like, essentially a lock. And then you put it with, somebody bad. I can't even Mackenzie Gore to not get a win or something like that, which it would be a bad example because, he's the favorite today. But anyway, though, I mean, that stuff, it was working, Anyhow, though, we have Kyle Gibson here. We've been on him a few times, at least in Discord. I know what, at least in the podcast here too. So, I mean, you guys are familiar with this game. He's over this in 9 of his 11 starts this year. Going to be a tougher task against the Astros. And that's what's had me kind of like Like, look, as soon as I seen he was pitching, I went to his outs over 17 and a half. I seen it was playable, and it's like, that's a play, and then it's like, all right, he's playing the Astros and kind of looking around, and you look and the Astros have a pretty good, batting average, and you look against right-handed pitchers on the year, they have like the fourth best batting average and this and that. But I think there's a lot more positive things going for us than what the Astros could potentially do to them. You look at the last 7 days, the Astros have like one of the fourth worst batting average in the league, just in general. So, I mean, baseball, it's baseball. Like literally anything can happen in any single day. Baseball is like the one sport that you'll never see me like hammer a bet or anything like that. Like I could tell you, I can swear up and down that TJ Hawkinson's going to have over 39 and a half yards against whoever because they're bad against tight ends. And I know the game plan. And maybe I myself am going to put $500 on it or $1,000 on it or something like that. But I would certainly never put $500 or $1,000 on a baseball play because literally anything can happen. If someone's throwing a ball 100 miles an hour and you have somebody that has a half a second to decide whether or not they're going to swing at it, make contact, and then put it into play. They there you go, TJ. That's good. Like I said, I've been saying for a while, the Astros are a good team. They're gonna make a run. They certainly need to make a run soon if they're gonna have like a playoff push or anything. I mean, they're still behind and everything like that. Trent, I forgot you said something about the Reds. I just don't. They like the Reds have been playing better, but I just don't trust them. Like I've been on the Reds and they're just like been screwing me. I want to see the Reds like on fire, and maybe they are, and I haven't been paying attention. But the Rockies Stadium, like literally anything can happen. There's too many like outside little factors with Rockies. I tend to stay away from that game when there's a game at Rocky Stadium because you really just don't know what's going on. Anyway, like I said, he's over this in 9 of 11. He's it's only over in 3 of his last 5. Whatever. I think at was he away? I think away he's over in 3 of 4. I mean, there's a lot of good things going for us. I will say as well, Kyle Gibson in his career against the Astros has done very well in terms of outs against the Astros. So last year, when Kyle Gibson was on the Orioles last year, he did only go 4.2 innings against them. So he did not go over his outs last time against the Astros. However, when Kyle Gibson was a member of the Rangers, he faced them in 7 starts. Kyle Gibson faced the Rangers as a member of the Rangers against the Astros from 2020 something, right? I mean, it was like 2-3 teams ago. He faced him 7 times throughout a span of a couple of years. He was over his outs line in all 7 games. So he is over his outs against the Astros in 7 of his last 8 starts against them. Some of these guys have been here for a while. This was during some of the Super World Series run, everything like that. Your Altuve's been there for a while. Your Alvarez has been there for a while. Your Bregman, Tucker's been there for a while, I think. So you have a pitcher who is over this in 7 of his last 8 starts against the team he's going against. You have a bullpen who has used a lot of arms. Looking at the graphic, they just went 10 innings against the Phillies yesterday. They used 6 arms against the Phillies yesterday. So you can see, I mean, the guy went 16, 12, 5, 16, 14, 11. It's real small on my screen. Probably not as bad on your guys' side. But I think those are the right numbers, I guess I'm saying. But they used a lot of arms yesterday. Some of these guys might be available. You can see that they also used 3 guys on Saturday. Some of them were doubled up. They have some guys who have pitched a decent amount that may not overly be available. They may not have as many arms available as what they would usually have, or they may want him to go deeper than what just like as he has been. I think there's just a lot of good outside factors. Like there's multiple ways to like handicap something outside of the fact that like he's a good ground ball pitcher. The Astros also, have a good batting average, which means they put the ball into play, which means that they might ground out more, get more hits, which turn into double plays. So on, I mean, a hit given up in 1 or 2 pitches can turn into a double play in another 1 or 2 pitches. You could have 2 outs in 4 pitches. That's fantastic. That's what we want to have. We want the ball realistically to go into play, so we have those shorter innings. He's done all of this work at 94, 94, 95, 89, 88, 98, 91, 104, 90. I mean, he hovers at 90 pitches. We've seen him go all the way up to 104, against the Brewers. He's had some good looks. Speaking of teams that are good against right-handed pitchers, he went 21 innings against the Padres, who were one of the best right-handed pitchers in the league. He went 18 against the Brewers, which is one of the second or third best. Then he only went 15, only went 5 innings against the Brewers later on, but he's faced some teams that are pretty good. You just got a lot of good things going for us. Outside of, like I said, the fact that he is a good pitcher, he's been doing this, but we also have the fact that he has pitched really well against the Astros in terms of depth, not been, getting into too many trouble, innings or anything like that against him in his career. And the fact that they've used a decent amount of arms in, here very recently. So you gotta feel pretty decent about the bet here with Kyle Gibson. And we got it at a pretty good value. You can get it for -122 on FanDuel. I think it was a little worse on DraftKings, actually, which is perfect. I've been trying to beef up my FanDuel, like my DraftKings and like Bet365. Both of those have been doing like really well. And like, I just don't use FanDuel, or I feel like I do a lot more lottos on FanDuel. So it's like kicking my butt. My FanDuel account's been feeling a little cursed recently. Yeah, he's -140 on DraftKings. So, I mean, that's a pretty good value. You can get -122 on FanDuel right this second, or it's -140 on DraftKings. So I mean that's some pretty good value. I'm gonna see what it is on Bet365 because normally they're pretty slow to move to. Kyle Gibson, player props, pitcher. Do that have it? Pitcher outs. -140 on Bet365. So that -122 is good value as of right now. It might close higher. Maybe they don't move it. Those are the 3 plays. Yeah, TJ, I've seen that. Bregman has hit pretty well against them. Gainer Diaz is hit. I mean, never mind, just 1 for 2. But Bregman is pretty. He had 4 total base. Did they play each other last week? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, but I mean, he's been pretty good against. He's been pretty good against Gibson, but you look at like Altuve's been, 22 at bats. He's got a .227, a .619 on base percentage. So, I mean, that's pretty low. You got Yordan Alvarez with a .25 ERA with a .6 on base percentage. Tucker, a little better, .294, but a .804. So, where some guys are going to be good, other guys aren't. And it's okay to give up runs. It really is. I mean, if he gives up a solo home run or a 2-run home run, it's all about the pitch. He could have given up 3 or 4 runs. But as long as we're kind of still in the mix, as long as we're still in the mix, and he's, as long as he's about 80 pitches going into the 6th inning, he should still stay. I've seen him get pulled at 84. But I mean, it was also within only 4 innings, so he was getting lit up. So that made sense. He also went 104 against the Brewers and only went 5 innings, So like, it really just kind of depends. But since the bullpen's a little banged up, hopefully it goes a little bit. And TJ, I had seen it, So yeah, Meredith too. I mean, that's why I say all the time, started to go away from FanDuel using others. DraftKings is a fantastic baseball book. I've always said DraftKings is the better baseball book. FanDuel is good for builders, same game parlays, stuff like that. You can share the links easier. It's better for like my job in the Discord. FanDuel is, but DraftKings, the boosts are fantastic. Even for somebody, if somebody has a higher bankroll and like you're maxed out at $25 for a boost, that's still good, So there's definitely some good books out there. 4 home runs in the last 7 days. I got you. Yeah. Well, perfect time to cool down, right? Okay. Anyway, recap here then for the podcast today. Mets money line, early up promo, Orioles versus Jays over 7.5, and Kyle Gibson over 17.5 outs. Like TJ said, like there's some of these guys have hit well against them, and that's certainly, it's just certainly baseball, like you could have somebody who has been fantastic against a pitcher do absolutely nothing. You could have somebody like Ranger Suarez the other day. He was 9-0, and he just got absolutely lit up. I forget who it was against, but it's like, shock the world kind of thing. The Phillies got killed in that game, and it made no sense. Chris Sale the other day was that Saturday against the A's, where it was like 10-11, and Chris Sale got absolutely rocked when he was a perfect 6-0 at home on six starts, 6-0 at home, 1.69 ERA or something like that. That's just certainly baseball for it. Jordan Montgomery never should have got blown up against the Mets the other day. His out should have been a lock, and it didn't. Straight bets are 50-50, and sometimes the luck falls your direction, and there's times where you're like, what is going on? Why can't I hit a bet? So we'll see how that goes today. Okay. In terms of home runs, if you guys want to get in on a home run lotto, I know that Bregman would probably be somebody you guys want to go after, but he's off the board today because I'm not going to root for a guy to hit a home run against my pitcher. That can't happen. Yeah, that is where I parlay. Exactly. That's why I lose money, is because I do parlays on FanDuel 100%. I also follow a lot of the cappers and with the Discord too, which it doesn't mean they're missing, but I follow a lot of bets in there. So if I'm betting 4 or 5 units and then I follow somebody, but they had a bad day and I lost 2 units with them, that adds up, All right. But all right, you look at batter versus pitcher, right? And we can do a 2-leg or we can do a 3-leg. It's up to you guys. I'd like to try to get a win. But if you look at the batter versus pitcher here, Jose Abreu leads it with 4 home runs against Kyle Gibson. Jose Abreu has not been doing anything. I think I felt like I was under the impression. Actually, he's not even on the team right now, I don't think. But I don't even think Jose Abreu is around right now. Bregman has hit 2 home runs against him. Bregman's been on fire. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put Bregman in a home run lotto today. Anthony Santander has hit 2 home runs, but he also only bats 167 against Gausman. So while he has a pretty good history, I don't know if that means that that's something that we should necessarily be, sprinting to go bet on. Babe Schneider. Isn't he a lefty hitter though, TJ? Going against a righty. Doesn't he hit? Let's see. What am I going to say? Doesn't he hit lefties better than he does righties? Is what I think I'm trying to say. And we can't. I know it is scary that there are some Astros that seem like some Astros are a good look, but I would take an Astro if I'm going to back a pitcher that's going against them. Man, it's gonna be 85 degrees today. I need to, once we're done here, I'm gonna go mow, I think, before it gets too hot. I guess he has 4 home runs against. Let's see here. In terms of weather advantage or whatever, Colorado, Cincinnati, once again, They have a 34% increase in home runs. You got weather blowing out to like left field somewhat. So like a right-handed batter wouldn't be a bad idea. I just don't know who I would want to take, you know? Mountcastle versus the Jays. How has Mountcastle been versus him? Mountcastle's actually hit him really well. No home runs, but I mean, he bats 429 against them. Mountcastle, for a 2-leg parlay, that might actually not be bad because Mountcastle actually normally is pretty steep. Yeah, plus 500. So let's just do a 2-leg. If we're gonna add in Mountcastle, which that's not bad. He hits 400 against the pitcher. He's bound to hit one out kind of thing. And we like there to be runs in that game, so I think that's a good look. Plus 500, so that'll be a good 2-leg. But probably not take 2 guys in one game. Well, actually, does FanDuel have a promo right now? Because we could do that. I feel like FanDuel had a boost for a same game parlay. Let me log in here. Speaking of FanDuel, that's another thing. I lost $100 on tennis today. Just stupid. Like, I didn't know the French Open went 5 sets or something like that, and it killed me. So I'm not very smart. Normally those boosts are 3 legs, so we'll have to cheat. Yeah, this might work. Then we just go after Davis. Boom. We can just cheat. Let's just do that. Let's just short and sweet. Like I said, I got some stuff I need to get to here too. It makes perfect sense. I like over 7.5 in this game. Ballpark Pal likes the over as well. In their model, I think there's going to be runs. We have a the away pitcher pitches worse away. The home pitcher pitches worse at home. You got a dome, so we don't have too much to worry. Although, isn't not retractable, TJ? But Mountcastle hits pretty well against Gaussman. They call him Babe Schneider. Dude hits. I mean, he's only got 8 home runs, but he does hit the ball pretty well. If we do it on FanDuel, you can use that 30% boost. It is a 3-leg, so you have to cheat. If you do Ryan Mountcastle, Davis Schneider, and Ryan Mountcastle to get a hit, so obviously if he gets a home run, he's going to get a hit. It just is a cheating way to get a 3rd leg. That's going to give us a plus 4,000 parlay, a little same game parlay. I don't think that's a bad look. And that's the way I try to use promos a lot, is just to cheat the books or whatever. And sometimes they don't let you do it, and then like other times they're not really like paying attention or anything like that, So appreciate you, Carlos. Yeah. That's what we'll do. That's what I'm gonna do. Can't really like tease that, can I? Been trying to like tease it, so I post on Twitter and like only show like half of the bet or something like that, and it'd be like, you got to watch the podcast to get the rest. whatever gets the views up, right? All right. If anybody else doesn't have anything, I'm gonna probably get out of here. Recap for today: Mets money line early up promo. Mets money line early up promo. Orioles versus Jays over 7.5 runs. Kyle Gibson over 17.5 outs. And we're going to go with Davis Schneider, Ryan Mountcastle, and then Ryan Mountcastle to get a hit. Same game parlay, plus 4,000 for the 2-leg. I feel good about it. He broke a record for the most home runs in the first month of him. I mean, that's what I call Babe. Honestly, I'd never heard of him before until this year. Unless he's a rookie this year, then that makes sense. was I gonna do? Okay, I think that's all. That's all, guys. We're gonna close. I mean, I've been on here for 40 minutes anyway, so we've been with it for a minute. Been on here for a minute. Appreciate you guys sticking out. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm at like 1,030 subscribers now, so I mean that's what money will do. People subscribe, out of nowhere kind of thing. But I will certainly take it, and no longer really talk too much about subs and stuff because I've reached it. Now it's about getting the watch hours. Which if you're subbed and you see me playing Call of Duty, come on over and just say hi, or watch, turn it on, just leave it. Trying to get the watch hours up. That's the next part to becoming like a YouTube affiliate or whatever I guess the word is. Is just having people watch stuff. Or maybe make a controversial video and then that people watch it that way. But appreciate you guys. I'm going to close it out and I will see you guys back tomorrow at 11:30.